Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, distinguished guests, and folks of all stripes, put your hands together for the Space Cadet Sports Podcast. Houston, we have Paul Salazar Jr.
Hey folks, welcome back to the Space Cadet Sports Podcast. This is your home for Houston Astros coverage if you're a diehard fan and you like listening to a diehard fan talk about their Houston Astros. I am the aforementioned diehard fan. I'm Paul Salazar Jr. Who am I, you might ask? And you have every reason to ask that. That's what almost everybody is always asked. I'm Paul Salazar Jr. I am a comedy writer. I am an improviser. I am a Houston native that over a decade ago now went out west to California. Oh, God. To strike his fortune in comedy writing, and now I do a sports podcast. So that tells you, I think that tells you enough about me. I've been a huge fan of the Houston Astros since the 90s, even the late 80s, if you want to give me credit as a wee lad. I wore the merch. I went to the games. I might not remember them all, but I definitely remember the 90s Astros. Those were my guys. Ever since then, I got bit by the bug. I've been a huge fan since. And yeah, because I've been such a huge fan, it's been tough being a fan over the last, really it hasn't. It's been tough being a fan trying to get media for this team over the past 5 years, I should say. Being a fan of them over the last 10 years has been incredible, but kind of the coverage of them has not done it for me. So, I thought, why not try myself? So that's what this is. This is my podcast where you get the fans' take of what's going on with this Houston Astros team. I watch every game. I read almost every article. I have an abundance of knowledge and information about this team, and I don't know what to do with it, so I sat down to record a podcast, and yeah, that's what we're here for, folks. The last time we did the podcast, I just talked about the recap the two-game series against the Colorado Rockies. We looked ahead to the Mets, and I haven't done a podcast in quite some time here, so I'm jumping back on. We have a lot to kind of briefly cover and a little bit to kind of look ahead here. I don't want it to make this too long of a podcast here today, folks, But yeah, let's just kind of jump right into it. The Houston Astros went to face the Grimace Mets. Almost said the Grimace Grets. It's going to be one of those days, folks. Just bear with me. I'm feeling a little silly, not pronouncing anything right, including pronouncing. Man, that was a little schwa-ish there. But we'll figure it out, folks. But it was good to see this Astros start off this road trip with a series win against the New York Mets with all of their Grimace magic. I don't know if you saw on the Instagram there. You can check that out. It's Space Cadet Sports at Space Cadet Sports on Instagram. Shared that meme of the Astros signing Dave Thomas, the ghost of Dave Thomas, to combat the Grimace Mets and all their magic that they've had. After that first game against the Mets, game one was dropped by a bad Ronel Blanco performance and frankly not enough offense. It started off with some offense. Tuve hit a first pitch homer and we had some good production in the middle of the lineup. Lots of hits. But they really struggled to bring runners home in this game, and runners in scoring position has haunted them a lot this season. When in this game, particularly with the highlight on our guy Doobie, Mauricio Dubon, who was playing first base in this game, really struggled to get a hit. He went 1 for 5 in this game. He did get that one, but he stranded 8 on base, and when you're not watching the Astros announcers, you're watching, Apple TV or ESPN or Fox, a lot of times the announcers are exceedingly, you feel like they're being exceedingly cruel, but sometimes they're just being black and white, reading stats off the page and reading print. Dubon had a really tough game in that game, leaving 8 men on base. He's been so good for the Astros this season with runners in scoring position. You would almost think that he would be the guy that you would want to go up there and get a ball and play. He might not be your home run guy. He might not be your power guy, but he could get up there, put the ball in play, potentially bring a runner in if they're in scoring position. He was not able to do that. Stranded 8 on base. It was not our game. This Ronald Blanco performance was one that you kind of want to forget about. He was doing really good to get an all-star campaign going for himself in the season. Really, I should say. It hasn't been just 1 month or anything. He's been great this whole season, but this performance definitely took a little bit of shine off of his all-star campaign. It wasn't a terrible game, but it just wasn't it wasn't what he wanted to solidify that all-star campaign and all-star performance. It was a good performance. He pitched 5 2/3 of an inning, gave up 6 hits, 6 runs. That equated to 3 earned runs. He gave up 3 walks, and he got 5 strikeouts, and he gave up 3 home runs. So just a lot of numbers in that stat line for Ronell. You're hoping for a little bit of help. Those runs, were definitely very tough. I think, it just wasn't their game. Taylor Scott came in. He was great. Montero even came in and he walked a couple, got a strikeout. He had a very Montero-ish type performance. He kind of reminds me a little bit about like Hector Neris, Neris season. Hector, Heart Attack Hector would pitch himself into some problems, and most of the time, like 9 times out of 10, he would pitch himself out of that problem. He'd pitch into it and out of it. Montero has had a bit of an up and down season. He's not exactly Heart Attack Hector. He doesn't pitch into trouble every single time, but when he does, it feels really rough, and you're not always sure if he could pitch himself out of it. His stuff has looked better this season, but he has, at this point in the season, I think me and Joe Espada trust Taylor Scott and Seth Martinez a little bit more than Montero in the middle innings. But Montero, Monty had a pretty good game there. He's working his way, back to being a consistent contributor to this bullpen. He's done well this season, and he's just trying to maintain that, I think. Brian King and Luis Contreras also came into this game. The new guys, did really well. Brian King's looking pretty good. He did give up an earned run in this game. He gave up 2 hits, couldn't go through a full inning, but I do like his stuff, so that is a little promising, I think, out of all the bullpen arms that kind of have been coming up and down during the Dana Brown pitching carousel this season. It's nice to see some people do well. Obviously, not really pitching as late into the game as we were hoping for Ronell, but really outside of Taylor Scott, Joe Espada did not tax many of his big arms in this game. So the Astros dropped the first game to the Mets, and game 2 went a little better. Framber Valdez had a struggle of a game in this season. It looks like it's going to be a seesaw season for our beloved La Grasa here at the podcast. The quality start streak seems so far away at this point, as Valdez is struggling to anchor himself, during these struggles. In this game, he gave up 6 runs in the game, and he didn't make it past the 5th inning. I'm going to pull up his stat line here real quick, folks. But yeah, La Grasa has very much had a Jekyll and Hyde season, just like the Astros have had. I think sometimes it's been talked about, you can go to any podcast and they'll talk about it. He's over pitching at times, with his sinker. And he did this a lot last season after his quality start season. He tried to put a little more heat on that sinker. I don't think that is getting the results that the team or he wants, kind of overthrowing. Maybe that's a little emotion. Maybe that's just more passion and fire from him. Maybe he is trying to throw harder to be a big dog against these hitters, but when that sinker tends to get faster, I don't think it has the same movement. I don't, that's my opinion. I don't really have anything to back that up. I guess aside from other people's opinion, maybe too, that might back me up. But I think when it gets faster, it gets a little flatter. Hitters are able to connect on it a little better, and that exit velocity is a whole lot higher. So somebody that is normally a ground ball pitcher, if he's throwing it a little bit faster and that sinker is elevating and not having the same downward movement as you would expect it to, these hitters are looking their chops, seeing a fastball come over the plate, and really connecting. In this game, Framber Valdez gave up 10 hits, 6 runs, 6 earned runs, 3 walks, 5 hits, and 1 home run, elevating his ERA to 4.11 on this season. The Astros were down for most of this game, but they were able to score in the late innings of this one with the Bergman RBI, sending Altuve home, I believe, on that one, and Doobie coming through to save face from a rough day yesterday. The Astros win 9-6, and you feel like this had to happen after the previous game of the series that was on Apple TV. I had to sit back and watch one of their players sing "OMG." A pop song there. He sang it at Citi Field, and the Grimace Mets and the OMG, all this stuff. I was just like, were they just going to do this win or lose? Like, are they just so confident that no matter what, they were just going to sing this song and they just expected to win this game? That is crazy. That is cocky. I don't hate it. I hate it as an Astros fan. Trust me. You don't want to see that happen after you lose a regular season game. You're just sitting back like, what the hell is happening right now? But I do like the confidence of a team like that. And I wish that, sometimes you need that confidence. I don't wish the Astros had it right now. They need to be moving up. I think a little confidence goes a long way. You don't want to be cocky. You don't want to be doing too much out there. And I do think, while this probably, if I was a Mets fan, I'd probably be all about it. But I do think this was a little too much. I think I would be nervous if the Astros, if Luke Berryhill went to the mound and sang his country song after an Astros win in the regular season when they just got to 500 for the first time in June. I would be nervous. So while I'm a little salty about it, I completely understand it. You got to enjoy people having fun in this game. You got to enjoy these players. You got to, if I was a fan of the Mets, I would be all about it. But that being said, it was really good to see the Astros bounce back from that OMG and put a little WTF in those Mets' eyes. They're like, oh, wait a second. Oh, we're not God's chosen team. So it was good to see. I think the Mets have so much swagger around them. The Mets have so much potential, so much, like, it's so good to see the Astros go back into this situation and play the bad guy, to be the black hat. That's what this team has been throughout their run, throughout the golden era of Houston Astros baseball. They have worn that black hat. They have come into other teams' houses and taken all the boos and turned it into success. So you love to see it. You're after this game, I was like, all right, that's perfect. The Astros have the momentum back. They didn't let this silly little OMG and Grimace Mets thing get in their way. But we're looking at this here. I'm feeling pretty confident. Framber Valdez only went 4 2/3 of an inning. Ronald Blanco barely made it to the 6th inning. If those of you who are listening to the podcast, you know that I was saying the only way the Astros can win this series is if both of these pitchers go deep into the game. They didn't go that deep into the game, and the Astros had to use a lot of bullpen arms, including in this game against where Framber Valdez exited early. We had to use Taylor Scott again. He pitched an inning in the 3rd. Seth Martinez came in for an inning. He ended up picking up the win in this game. Presley came in the 8th, picked up a hold, and Hader came in and picked up the save. So we really had to depend on a lot of arms, and I think that I think that they weren't prepared to. Sorry, I lost my place here, but yeah, I don't think they were prepared to use this many high leverage arms in this game. You probably knew after the loss yesterday, you needed this is a must win game. So your haters probably going to be in there. You're going to use either a combination of Presley or Abreu, to make sure you win this game if you're Joe Espada. So I think no matter what, there's going to be a high leverage arm used in this game. But, having to use that many arms before a bullpen game did not make me feel confident going into this bullpen game. I also, was thinking like maybe they were hoping to put Seth Martinez out there, and this could be causing trouble for them. Maybe they weren't wanting to go with Dubin, but they went with Sean Dubin to open for the bullpen game against the Mets. Sean Dubin. Let's really quick run through. Oh, that's Carl. It's okay. Oh, folks, I'm sorry about that. I forgot to tell you about. I usually never forget her, and of course I forgot her in this episode. Our co-host and my producer, that's Carla the dog that's on mic right now. She's letting a delivery person have it right now. I apologize about that. But yeah, let's kind of get back to it. We're going to look at who the bullpen arms were in this game. So Sean Dubin was able to open this game for us. He's not the starter. He's the opener. He was able to go 3 1/3 of an inning for us, which was incredible. I think, with the arms that the Astros have injured right now, there is not a lot of major league ready arms available as a starting pitcher right now that the Astros feel confident in. There's so many injuries. There's even JP France, who you were thinking, most of you haven't heard of in a while now. You're like, maybe why wouldn't just you get a guy like France to come up? France is injured. He had a surgery as well. There's so many injured starting pitchers that the Astros had to go with a bullpen game here, and Sean Dubin stepped up and did amazing. He did give up 3 walks, but he did get 2 strikeouts. With 0 hits, which is absolutely incredible. After Dubin, pick up your crown, King. Brian King came in. He pitched 1 2/3 of an inning, gave up no hits. Once again, zero hits from this bullpen up until this point. He did give up a walk and a strikeout. At that point, Seth Martinez did come in, and we did run into some trouble at this point of the game, folks. Seth Martinez pitched an inning, but he did give up 3 hits and 2 earned runs, 2 runs in total. He picked up 2 strikeouts, so Seth Martinez had a tough outing in this inning, but with just 2 runs, you're hopeful that the Astros will be able to score more than that. And then Abreu comes in, and unfortunately, Abreu comes in and blows a save. At this point in the game, the Astros are up 3-2. Oh, it's okay. Sorry, Carla. Here, I'll move that for you. There you go, Carla. Good girl. Good girl. She did not like that there was stuff in her bed, so I had to move it for her. It's okay. But yeah, anyway, moving on. I'm not too stressed about my little baby girl. She's just trying to find a nice place to lay in her bed and making all the noise in the world. But yeah, so Abreu came in and he gave up a hit, 2 runs, 2 earned runs, 2 walks, and a home run there. So that was tough to see. And then Presley comes in to pitch the 8th, and puts up a bunch of zeros there. And at this point in the game, the Astros, they have been scoring, they have been good, but Jose Altuve has been ejected from this game at this point. Jose Altuve was ejected in the 7th. If you have not seen this, essentially what happened was Jose Altuve was in the batter's box. He barely, from video evidence and from what I can tell, and honestly from Jose Altuve jumping around, he hits, fouls a ball off of his foot. The ball goes back into play. Vientos of the New York Mets fields the ball, throws it to first, and the umpire calls him out. And the officiating crew wasn't watching well enough to dispute the fact that this isn't a ball in play, that this was a ball fouled off of Altuve's leg. There's a bit of a moment there, they're kind of discussing it, and essentially the umpires tell Altuve that this is not a reviewable play and that he is out. Altuve pretty much just he's getting increasingly angry this time. It's not like a flip switches, but at that point he kind of loses it. He throws his helmet to the ground, breaks it. He's the angriest I've ever seen him, and he's just like screaming, "No way, no way!" He gets ejected from this game. It's the second time Jose Altuve has ever been ejected, and this is, I believe, the same the same umpire that ejected him in 2016 ejected him in that game. I get it. I would be furious if I was Jose Altuve as well. This is a close game. This is very much a win game. You are the team captain, and you foul a ball off your foot. You're dancing around in the batter's box, and then you get called out. That's ridiculous. Now, there has been a storyline going in Arlington saying that Marcus Semien would have, ran to first base to try to get there because he's such a team player. What the hell are you guys talking about? I think anybody that fouls a ball off of their foot probably wouldn't be sprinting to first because the rules of the game. You would think that the umpires would also know the rules of the game, and if the guy that was calling the strikes, the balls and strikes behind the home plate in this game, it was his first time as a home plate umpire. Even if it's his first time, you think he's done this enough, and you have a first and third base umpire that will be able to watch the game as well. But this whole crew dropped the ball and really fired up Altuve there. I really think that it's kind of silly that people think that Altuve could have done something here. I don't know what he could have done truly, but I really don't know. It was infuriating. He did have to get ejected. And I think that the thing that bothers me the most is that this crew was not very good at all. It was a tough crew. And the game before, the home plate umpire lost count of the balls and strikes, and they had to call New York to help them count to 4. I think that kind of made me lose a little faith in this officiating crew. And I kind of, I don't see I don't put any of the blame here on Altuve here, but it was good to see the Astros end up coming back to win this game. There was a rain delay going into the ninth. It was a tie game 4-4. Hader is warming up, and Rightus Hader is probably going to go out to pitch for the Astros. They bring the tarp out, and it's a rain delay. So basically, we burned Hader as a team, and Hader is not available to pitch. The Astros go into the clubhouse for about 3 hours, almost 3 hours there. Come back out, and Taylor Scott is pitching. Taylor Scott pitches a couple innings, does well for us. Luis Contreras goes out there to close out the game, and the Astros, that both teams score in the 10th inning. They both make it 6-6, but in the 11th inning, the Astros score 5, break the game open, and win the game. Just keep the ball rolling yesterday. So the Astros win that series, move along to Toronto and Canada Day in Toronto. Hunter Brown goes out there and leads the Astros in a pitcher's duel where the Astros looked pretty like it was very much a struggle bus for them at the plate against a pitcher that they haven't seen too much of. A guy that struggled to get past the 4th inning, looked really good against the Astros. That's how they are sometimes, I think, with pitchers that they don't know too well. They tend to be overly aggressive. It seemed like they were very aggressive. I think he fooled them on some pitch shapes. It was just a tough game up until Pena hit a home run and Jordan came through with the home run. And, really they won this game 3-1 just off those homers in this pitcher's duel. Later on in the game, the Mets got a homer of their own against Hader in the 9th, scoring that 1 run. So this game was just not a lot of offense and just some big swings for some players late in the game. Luckily for the Astros, they had enough offense and enough big swings to take this game, and they are looking ahead to the next 3 games in Toronto here, including the one today. Today's game in Toronto. Pardon me, 1 second here, folks. I forgot that it is July. It's going to be Spencer Arrighetti. It's spaghetti time in Toronto against Berrios. Jose Berrios is starting for the Toronto Blue Jays. And yeah, folks, I think the Astros, you know, it has been tough for them right now. They have had a tough season, but their June was absolutely incredible. They are now 43 and 41, 3 games back behind the Seattle Mariners, who are right now the AL West division leaders. But if you would have told any of these people panicking in April that the Astros would be 3 games out of the division league in July, I think they wouldn't believe me. I think they'd say that I've been smoking too much out here in Cali and that I'm way too optimistic and a homer. But, I have not given up on this team. I was telling people it was a little bit too premature. I know that this roster may have some issues, but every major league roster does. Even the Dodgers are looking to sign people. At the trade deadline, people are looking to buy because no team's roster is perfect. I think a lot of people think that baseball is just a video game that they can, you can just get a bunch of, MLB The Show 90 rated players and put them on your roster and figure it out for it. But this is not how baseball works. Every roster is a little flawed. Most teams are all, that are competing are looking to buy at the deadline. That's why, so many people are saying the Astros are going to be sellers. They're very much looking to be buyers. I do not know truly what they can get because you're looking at what they're able to give up. There's not a lot big prospects or big names that I think the Astros are willing to part with. So I think that we will be, if we're getting starting pitcher, getting some pitching, it's not going to be a big name or big splash that a lot of people are looking for. It's going to be somebody that fits within what the team wants to spend here and can provide the most value for them. But, Dana Brown has been great. Dana Brown, Ronald Blanco has been incredible for us. Trey Cabbage has been a great fill-in player since Tucker has been injured. A lot of the moves that Dana Brown has made, I like what he does on the fringes and with the capital that he's able to use. I do think that this Astros team has been incredible in June. If you look back, and you kind of look at the stats in June, their batting average, their runs average per game, their batting average against, their ERA. A lot of what they did this season is in the top 3 of I believe all of baseball. It's definitely towards the top of the AL West, but I think the numbers I was looking at is in all of baseball. They were top 3 in those markers. And Hunter Brown actually tied the lowest ERA in the month of June with a very low ERA. Hunter Brown all of a sudden is a new guy. He now has 8 quality starts in a row. Hunter Brown is really anchoring this Houston Astros rotation. Ronald Blanco has been the ace, but Hunter Brown, we've seen more of him this season, so it seems it's great to see him step up, be Diesel again, have that attitude, have that fire behind the mound. You just love to see it. Hunter Brown is back, baby. Hunter Brown is here, and I'm hoping that this is the HB that we will get the rest of his career in the Astros uniform. Going forward, the Astros are just gonna have to pretend that July is just June Junior. They need to keep this going. I think that this team is rolling. I think this team is starting to feel confident. Going into New York and facing a team that has that much swagger and that much momentum behind them and that much fans just rabid to see a good team. They're reminding me of the Astros of years past. They have that confidence to take down a swagger team, to go in there and be professional and be the black hat and just win the game, play good baseball. Or if it's not good baseball, like yesterday, just get enough to win the game. Winners win. I have not been able to say that very, very much this season because we're just now over 500. But winners find a way to win the game, and that's what the Astros have been doing. I feel like outside of yesterday's lineup without Altuve and without Tucker, a lot of these lineups that Espada has been putting out there have been fire. it was a tough game, I think, because it just wasn't one of their strongest lineups. But I think Altuve being out of that lineup wasn't because he was suspended or anything. It was just a normal day off. But you need to get these players days off when you can. I think he felt confident with the pitching matchup, even though the pitching matchup really did eat the Astros lineup alive. I understand his logic there. Maybe this is a good time to sit Altuve. We need him to have a rest during this stretch of games here, during this road trip. This might be the best opportunity. Let his passion subside after getting ejected. This might be the pitching matchup for us with the weaker lineup. They didn't do that well, but they did win the game. And I do think that the lineups that he's been setting out there have been better, and not better, but just because everybody's production has been better, these lineups have been feeling a little scarier than they were, obviously, in the beginning of the season, and that's without Tucker. So once we get Tucker back, I really feel like this team is destined for success. If they get Tucker back and are able to just remain as healthy as they can be. We've had too many pitching injuries. Justin Verlander still isn't back. Victor Caratini still isn't back. And, obviously Kyle Tucker still isn't back. If we can get those three guys back, and if we can maintain health, this team is destined to be in contention for the AL West Division Championship. And I do think that is the Astros' best path to success this season. Obviously they are just a couple games out of the wild card as well, but because of how good the AL Central and the AL East is, I feel like that could be a losing game trying to be a wild card this season, unless they just really get high, way above 500 and go on some streaks here. So for the Astros, what we're going to need to do is pray for some health. Obviously, I think that they, they're starting to figure it out. They're starting to fire on all cylinders. I'm knocking on wood because I do know that for every couple steps forward, they've taken a step back this season. If they can just remain consistent, not just with their hitting and their pitching, but with their health, this team will be making noise, and everyone will forget all about April like they do most seasons. But that's remains to be seen. They still have a lot of season left to go. Let's hope these guys go streaking and keep playing Houston Astros baseball. And with that being said, folks, we're going to go ahead and wrap up this podcast for today. Thank you so much for listening to the Space Cadet Sports Podcast. You can find the Space Cadet Sports Podcast and blog on our home, on our Substack at spacecadetsports.substack.com. You can go there, put your email in, and become a free subscriber and get every podcast, video podcast, meme, and article emailed directly to your email box. Or if you're like me and you like phones and the phone app's a lot better, I have the Substack app. Just one click of the button there, and you get notifications instead of emails, and you can just read and listen to the podcast on the app there. I think it's a lot better of an experience just because I'm more of a phone guy. That's just me. You could also do that on your tablet as well. There's so many other people to read and hear on Substack too. So, it's not just the Space Cadet Sports app. You'll have other voices you can listen to there as well. If you want to talk to me about any of my baseball takes or just want to engage me in conversation about baseball, I'm all here for it. Talk to me about Houston Astros on social media at Paul Salazar Jr. Go check that out. Or if you're just here for the puppy pictures, go to Carla's Instagram at good.dog.carla. Thank you so much for listening to this podcast. If you're a diehard Houston Astros fan, please share this with another diehard Houston Astros fan, and let's build this community. Thank you so much for listening. Keep your head up, son. And as always, vamos Astros.